Looks like we got just about everybody here. Let's go ahead and get started. So welcome everyone to the September learning session from WSA, our monthly learning series where we cover key insights and trends and our learnings from what we're seeing from our clients and our customers across different industries and also different survey best practices. Presenting today is Dr. Karen Moriarty, PhD in Industrial and Organizational Psychology from the University of South Florida. Very fine school and came through there at a time when they were just churning out excellent talent for sure. Karen is an expert in the financial services industry, has a long background in a number of industries, government, military organizations, as well as the financial service industry in particular, including some time spent as an internal consultant within the industry, as well as her extensive experience as an external consultant focusing on engagement experience, assessments, and many other areas of IO psychology. So if you have any questions, please put those in the Q&A section of the webinar, and we'll have a few minutes at the end to address some of those questions. And with that, I will turn it over to Karen. Thank you.
All right. Thanks a lot, Cameron. Glad everybody could be here. So let's hop on into this presentation. We are going to, as was mentioned, focus on the financial services industry. We're going to do top trends, hot topics, engagement, retention priorities, and then actions. We're going to be using WSA's proprietary norms database, focusing on the financial services industry. The data presented today come from all clients falling within this industry. Let's start with these trends. So we can see here we've got engagement and then also retention intention or intent to stay. And you can see the engagements in blue and retention is in orange. We see we start at 78 and 65 and we end at 78 and 66. So we kind of ended up where we started. But in the middle, a lot of things happened. We had the COVID-19 pandemic here in 2020. We called it the COVID bump. We saw those scores go up year over year for our clients, and we attributed that to employees being happy to have jobs, employers happy to have employees, so treating those employees pretty well, despite some of the hardships that were experienced. Once the pandemic wound down, we saw the scores or percent favorables slowly decline as employees began to explore other job opportunities that they were not able to explore during the pandemic. So we had some pent-up demand there. Also, employees were a bit exhausted. They'd been working really hard. They wanted to know what was in it for them now. I focused so much to help keep this company going. What are you going to do for me? So they were looking for attention for their needs, like for growth and development opportunities, feeling a stronger sense of belonging, a little bit more work-life balance. But yeah, that's how we ended up back where we started. All right, hot topics. This is really fascinating for me. Fintech, obviously, as you can see right up here, fintech is disrupting the industry. The chart on the right shows you that it's changing who comprises this industry's employee base. Since January of 2016, engineers have way outpaced real finance employees. So that's really big. We've gone from finance, sales, operations. Now we're more admin, marketing, engineering. That's who's comprising a lot of financial organizations, especially these fintech companies. But these have real world implications. Fintech is impacting the banking industry, has digital banking, quicker processes, improved customer experience, reduced real world footprint, as so much can be done online. When I moved from Iowa to South Carolina, I had a credit union account in Iowa, and I was able to keep it in South Carolina. So I don't have a bank here that I can go to, but I do all of my banking through that credit union digitally. And these changes impact the labor market because it impacts the amount of labor that companies need. Similarly, for the insurance industry, analytics foster better risk modeling, digital services. It allows customers to have a better, easier shopping experience. Automation results in faster processing of payments, claims, and customer complaints and inquiries. Also reduces the amount of labor needed. So bottom line, fintech's going to reduce the amount of labor that is needing, but it's going to be a bumpy road getting all these benefits up and running. So you can't just let employees go yet. And employees feel this pinch as well. So they're feeling a little bit of stress from that as well. Engaging employees as you transition to using new technology is critical. As you can see down here on the bottom left, you've got a lot of turnover there. It's very high turnover. And we need to hold on to the employees that we have, and we also need to upskill them so they can continue to be effective for us as we onboard new technology. All right. So first place I wanted to start was this tenure and retention and tension by tenure specifically. We see some very large differences, obviously. We looked at the top 2 retention drivers for this industry, and we found that they are, I believe this company has an outstanding future. This job makes good use for my skills and abilities. So these are some things, I've got them right over here that on the left side here that we'll want to focus on. Everybody wants to work for a winning team, and this is much more important with the changes affecting the financial services industry now. So when employees feel the ground shifting underneath their feet and see the potentially more financially rewarding jobs, it's hard for them to resist that allure. So employees want jobs that maximize their skill set. They want to stay up to date, not only for intrinsic value, but also to keep up with the external rewards, financial rewards. And they'll want to do it where they are or with a new organization. We see the median turnover is, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, is 5 years. So that lines pretty well with our data here. We've got, that's a, think about what you're losing when somebody with 5 years worth of tenure in your organization leaves. All that knowledge and experience just walks right out the door. Okay. All right, so let's talk about the financial services engagement driver themes. Engagement drivers are those items or areas that impact engagement the most. Engagement itself is not directly actionable. I can't tell my team to just be more engaged, but I can look for what drives or impacts engagement and identify 1, maybe two items to act on. I looked at the top 10 drivers for the financial services industry in our norms database, and I put them into themes. There's the first one here is, what does the future hold? Is this a trustful workplace? Are employees valued? And are employees enabled? So let's walk through these now and see what they tell us about employees in this industry. All right, the future. This item right here, I believe this company has an outstanding future, was the #1 engagement driver. Very important for employees. Let me see here. As I mentioned previously, everyone wants to work for a winning team. It's important to rally employees around the flag, so to speak. We want to get them invested in this organization's future. We do this by explaining where we are going, how their work can contribute to this success, and then what does success look like? Getting them excited about the future and showing them not only how they contribute to the process now, but how they can contribute to success in the future. Right here, I have opportunities for advancement, is to help them with advancement. So we need to explain to them, where can I go? How can I get there? What steps do I take? And another thing to keep in mind is that not everybody wants a promotion. People read these a little bit, advancement means different things to different people. Some people want a promotion. Some people want to rescope their responsibilities for their jobs, or they want to make a lateral move to a different department. And that just means we need to really understand what the career goals are for our employees. And here's a tip: learn what employees' career goals are, as I just mentioned. Those who can envision themselves at the company in the future are less likely to leave it. All right, trust. Is this a trustful environment? Can I trust leadership? Will they commit to enacting change based on the survey results? How transparent is our communication? These are important questions for employees when they think about the culture of the organization. They want leadership that does what they say they'll do and acts in accordance with the company values. They want leaders that enact change that's intentional and transparent. And they want communication to be open and honest and to work both ways. So not just telling me what to do, but listening to my feedback back up the chain. And one thing to think about here is, especially with this item right here, I believe positive change will happen. Develop SMART goals for taking action. That's the best way really to set yourself up for success. You might remember these from school when you were younger, but those are goals that are specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. All right. Are employees valued? Everyone wants to know that they matter. Valuing employees is more than a checkbox recognition exercise. It's about being recognized for the work that you've done, but it's also about being appreciated for the other unique qualities that you bring to the role and to the company. Recognition has the most impact when it's aligned with the values of the organization. That's something to keep in mind. And we want to be very specific. There was a news story this morning on the radio that talked about recognition needing to be very specific. And at WSA, this is not a surprise to us. Specific recognition, telling them this is what you did really well. The next step is to align it to the company's values. That has even more meaning. You did X very well. I really appreciated it, and it really shows our value of teamwork, for example. And then feeling like you belong, is like you're part of a team, is important to employees' well-being at work. When you're part of a team, you feel like you always have someone at your side, and it mitigates that stress, that day-to-day stress that we all feel. Gives us a feeling or a sense of we're all in this together. Make recognition a regular part of your interactions with employees, and again, be specific about what they did. Employee enablement. Managers play an increasingly important role in employees' engagement. We want to ensure, and because of this, we want to make sure they are enabled on the basics, on allocating work properly, assigning projects or tasks to the right people, making sure roles make good use of employees' talents and abilities, acquiring and shifting tools and resources as needed. There's also the softer side of management. That's the mentoring, coaching, and developmental aspects. And we want to make sure that managers are enabled on that piece of the puzzle as well. So, yep, match them with the jobs now, provide them with resources they need to be effective. We can see that these are really high here too. So apparently in the financial services industry, most employees are feeling very well enabled. Okay, actually, that was it. I went through that pretty quick. So do we have any questions?
Hi, Karen. Yeah, just one or two questions had come through on our side. So one question was, if we're looking at financial services in general, the scores are fairly high. A lot of the key driver items that you've shared are also fairly, really pretty strong scores, and some of those on this page in particular. So if that's the case for a particular organization, should they still focus on those key drivers even if the scores are quite high?
That's a really good question. So key drivers can be high, moderate scoring, or low scoring. We want to use those high scoring key drivers. Those are our strengths. So we want to use them to help as leverage to help maximize any initiatives or strategic changes that we're making. We want to lean into those strong performing key drivers. Also, you can use them to help leverage areas that you need to focus on, lower scoring key drivers, for example. In this presentation, we saw that there were two that were in the 60s. I have opportunities for advancement. And I believe positive change will happen as a result of this survey. So if these were your actual data, I would say those two are places to consider starting.
Okay. And then how much variability should you expect from, from companies in different parts of the financial services industry more broadly? Are there big differences in different types of financial firms, or maybe from one year to the next within a particular company?
That's that's an interesting question. So in general, the insurance part of financial services industry tends to score a little bit higher. So their scores are a little bit higher. They're helping to pull up the average scores. I don't see differences between, say, wealth management and banking, or even with insurance. Their scores are a little bit different, but they are not significantly different. They overlap quite a bit. And the financial services industry, compared to other industries, tends to be higher scoring. And it's also one of our larger industries that we have in our norms database.
Okay, thank you, Karen. And I don't see any other questions in the Q&A right now. I guess maybe a last opportunity for anyone attending to put a question in that format. Otherwise, we will wrap just a few minutes early today, but I don't see any other questions coming in. So with that, Karen, thank you very much for sharing this information. And for everyone attending, we will have a recording of this out on the WSA website soon. And please join us next month for our continued series on learning opportunities across WSA. Thank you.
Thanks.